Welcome, survivors, seekers, and thrivers. I'm your host, Shari Lee Roberts, psychic medium, energy healer, and living proof that you can transform your pain into power. Each episode, we dive into trauma healing, developing your intuitive gifts, and reclaiming your life. Get ready for real stories, deep wisdom, and a little laughter along the way.
Hello, and welcome to day. I have the amazing Callie Calkins. Now, I am going to share with you her bio, and unfortunately, it is lengthy. Kelly has many contributions through occasions and things to her credit. So, to begin, Kelly is a board-certified holistic nutritionist and a great healing practitioner who guides women back to wholeness, and that alone is huge. Additionally, after Kelly walked through her own journey with 6 autoimmune conditions, she discovered the truly healing happens when we honor all 4 dimensions of our being: the physical, mental, emotional, and of course, the spiritual. Kelly founded a practice named Wellness Warriors Care. Kelly blends functional medicine, holistic nutrition, traditional Chinese medicine, NLP, and divine energy healing to address root cause, which is Oliver's natural healers. Now, Western medicine treats symptoms, not the source. In addition, Kelly and I also have this in common. She is vậy now call into what and a lot of the people are unfamiliar with what that is. So we'll definitely delve into that. Callie, ultimately, suggeries every day and has for many years to give back people a good quality of life, healthy living by healing trauma and everything else, holding them in a terrible life,
Yes.
health-wise. So, Colleen, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Shari, for having me. I'm very excited to pour into this conversation and your community.
Excellent. Well, you begin by going back and sharing what it was in your younger years, childhood, that led you to all of the autoimmune issues.
Yeah, beautiful question, because I think people really overlook how it happens. They think it's something that all of a sudden happens. And I will tell you from my clinical experience, it is never something that just happens.
No.
Like many of the women that I work with, I was born into a pretty traumatic home, very dysfunctional. My parents were doing the best they could, but that bar was pretty low. I can remember being 7 years old and combing my doll's hair and telling my doll that it was all going to stop with me. Now, looking back, I know that I had discernment, but when you're a kid, you don't have the tools to protect yourself. So I grew up with all sorts of abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse. My dad was control and chaos. So I became the internalized version of that. I was the one that physically put myself between my brothers and my dad because I knew I was stronger than my brothers, which is a weird thing to say. I mean, I was such a tiny girl because I had health issues, but I wanted to be the one to take it to protect them. As I grew older, a lot of times I would do the same thing for my mom. I just kind of became the one who could take it because I was wrong. And the thing about strength is no matter how strong you are, there's always a tipping point. And it's not that we shouldn't protect or intercede, but where I see in my own journey and in many women's journey, it's that I wasn't taught the tools how to then take it out of me so it didn't keep accumulating. So by the time I was in my early 20s, I knew something was wrong. I knew I didn't feel quite right. I knew my body was to not respond the way I knew my body to respond. And every time I went to the doctor, they told me I was anxious or depressed, and they tried putting me on antidepressants and anxiety, and they didn't take me seriously. And then as I met my husband and I got married and we tried to start having a family, pregnancy did not go well for me. I lost our first baby in the second trimester, gave birth to my daughter 3 weeks early. She was high risk, lost the baby after her in the first trimester. Then my son was born a month early and was septic. And I look back and I can see that there was autoimmune dysfunction, but because I didn't look like someone that they would expect to have autoimmune, meaning I wasn't grossly overweight, I didn't have my hair falling out, they just dismissed it basically until my early 30s. My youngest was almost 3, and I remember I was having really severe health issues, and I told my husband, I need to wait till he's old enough that he can understand I can't hold him and carry him, because I knew I was going to. Western solution was to cut things out. So at 29, they gave me a hysterectomy, and then everything got worse because it wasn't actually the problem.
Lord.
So yeah, by 32, I was bedridden, and I looked like I had a stroke. I had paralysis on the right side of my body, and they just gave me medication after medication, and it was autoimmune. The first autoimmune, they told me in a voicemail that I had an autoimmune disease and said, call us if you have questions. And I was sitting here in this office, and I remember just feeling so numb, like, how do you give somebody life-changing news in a voicemail? It was just, it's the Western model. They don't treat women well. So within 6 months of that diagnosis, I had 5 more, and they all had been there under the surface, but it was being missed for depression and anxiety. And then once I had kids, it became, oh, it's postpartum, it's your hormones. And all of it was trauma and emotions that I had taken on for the people that I love, that I then didn't know what to do with. And as I studied Chinese medicine, it's interesting because the root of all dysfunction in Chinese medicine is love pain, which is emotion. And there's tremendous truth in that, tremendous truth. And as I started deepening the piece of my practice with the divine healing energy and the creator work, one of the things creator came through and said is that all dysfunction starts in the spiritual or the energetic self, and then ripples outward into physical, mental, and emotional symptoms. And I know that's been true in my own life. And I see it with all the women I work with. We can go back to, when was the last time you felt really great? And most of the time they can't even remember, Shari, because it's a lifetime of being the one who takes it, being the one who speaks up, being the one who pushes back. Beautiful traits. But if we don't know what to do with the venom and the poison that we're sucking out of the situation, it kills us, right? So a big part of my healing was dealing with that, meaning processing it out, recognizing it, giving space for it, allowing myself to feel it and allow it to move through.
And what was the catalyst? They put you on your spiritual healing and natural healing journey. I mean, my story is down to call to yours. Okay, so I know when it all imploded and brought me to complete broken. Which really is the point at which we either begin healing or we perish.
Yeah,
I
we break.
mean,
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Absolutely. I call it the breaking open because you break
yes,
open, and then from
yeah,
that open, you either return to ash or you rise from the ash.
yeah,
So for me, it really began with that hysterectomy because it was autoimmune and they treated the symptom by just cutting it out. So the
mm,
first surgery, I almost bled out on the table. I had internal bleeding and they couldn't figure out why. So for 45 minutes, they tried to find why I was bleeding out. The first pass, they tried to only take the uterus. After almost bleeding out on the table, my body was very, very weak. I kept bleeding bright red
oh,
blood, and I kept calling the doctor saying, I'm still bleeding. And they kept telling me it was normal. And I said, it's not normal to bleed bright red blood. So
yeah,
8 weeks after that, I was in for a second surgery. And what had happened because of the
oh
auto,
my
you
God,
don't heal right when you have autoimmune. So what
yep,
happened was they cut out the uterus and then I didn't heal properly, and a tendon pulled super tight and it collapsed my cervix into my intestines. So I couldn't go to the bathroom anymore. And I was bleeding internally because as that tendon pulled, it ripped open my fallopian tube. So I
oh
was
my
actively bleeding
God,
inside for 8 weeks. So then I had a second surgery and they they cut the tendon, took out my cervix, and then they took out the fallopian tube. And the ovary had no blood to it for 8 weeks. They left it in there to see what would happen because it's always an experiment. And then the other ovary went into shock because of everything to the system.
yeah,
So they're
oh my
come out
God,
of that surgery. I'm not healing well at all. And then something again is not right. I go back into the doctor and they see that now I have an abscess. And they're telling
oh,
me that I need a third surgery. So now this is my rock bottom because I had bled internally for 8 weeks. I had a second surgery. I barely recovered from the second surgery, and now I'm fighting an abscess. So at the time, we're in a life group. We had our life group come over and lay hands on me and pray for a miracle. And one of the gals in my life group at the time was an ER nurse. And she told me, I'll pray for you, but abscesses don't go away. They have to be drained and packed. And I told my husband, unless God wants me to die, there has to be another way because you just know when you're not going to survive something. I don't know how to explain it.
yeah,
I knew I
true,
wasn't going to make it through that third surgery. So we made videos for our babies because my kids were 4 and 3. My youngest two were 4 and 3. And I realized that if I ended up having to move forward with the surgery, they weren't going to remember me. So I started making these videos talking to them. It's still very emotional for me, actually,
yeah, oh
about how
my
much I
God,
loved them and how they
yeah,
were the best thing I ever did with my life. And that if there was anything I could do, I wouldn't have chose to not be here. But if they're watching
yeah,
this, it means I'm not here, but I'm always with them.
yeah,
And when you're making videos like that and you're going
oh
in
my
every night, you're
God,
watching your baby sleep and you know that you're not going to be around to watch them grow up, it's really hard to get lower than that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we had everybody come over and lay hands on me on a Friday night. And Monday I went in for the pre-op and the abscess was gone. So I totally had a miracle. And I knew in that moment, and I talk about this when I do public speaking, I literally knew in that moment that whatever I was going through, it was for a purpose and that God wasn't done with me.
yeah,
So the abscess was gone. And I decided
ugh,
this can't continue. In my previous job, I was an IT engineer, so very analytical. I started devouring medical journals to try to figure out what is underneath all the things that are happening to me. And every time I would find, like, I found inflammation was connected to everything. And I was like, well, that's interesting. No one's talked to me about inflammation. What causes inflammation? And every time I would find something, I would say, but why? But why? But why? And it would go deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And it came down to, honestly, it came down to food and emotions. That's what it came down to. Every single thing that happens to our body comes from those two. Either something we're doing dietary wise or something we're doing or not doing emotion wise. So as I began to turn from Western and go holistic, I began healing. And then I just wanted a quiet life. Like, I really didn't want to change the world or change people's lives. I just wanted to live with my children and give my children what I didn't get to have growing up. But the more I healed, Shari, I looked around and I saw so many women suffering and settling because they didn't know things could look or feel different. And it's kind of like when you find like an amazing deal, like say you're at Goodwill and you find this amazing thing and you want to tell everybody about it. When you realize it doesn't have to look like this and you don't have to fall apart as you age and it doesn't have to be menopause or age or any of that.
Yeah.
You kind of have to tell people. You can't sit on that.
No.
So Creator came through and started taking away my joy from my career to the point where it felt better to close that door and to go back to school as an adult and pursue my board certification. It was, I left a career, I left a retirement, I left a pension to start over and get the credentialing I needed to be in the room I wanted to speak in. And in Arizona, and I think many places, you don't actually have to have credentials to be a nutritionist. But because I knew I wanted to use food as medicine and have the credibility for women to understand I can change your life by educating you, I did sit for my board and pass my board exam and have added many credentials just because it's a whole connected ball of wax when we're talking about health. It's not just what you're eating, it's not just what you're feeling, it's how it's affecting your sleep. For example, if you're stressed out, your digestion turns off. So even if you're eating all the things right, you can't digest any of it, you can't absorb any of it. So you could be doing everything perfect and be starving because you can't get a handle of correcting your nervous system response. And the women I work with, they're like me, they're like you, they come from trauma. So we learn from such a young age that if we're going to survive, we have to be wired for hypervigilance, which is not where our nervous system is supposed to live. Your body can do one thing at a time: rest, digest, or fight, flight, which is the hypervigilance. So we learn at a very young age to survive. I must forecast the room, forecast the emotions, anticipate the response. So now from a young age, we're not digesting, we're not absorbing, we're not sleeping right. We feel like we're sleeping because we're exhausted, but we're exhausted because our mitochondria are dying. So it's this whole vicious cycle. And it comes back to restoring nutrient density while processing out what is stuck in the body and teaching new, basically neuro pathways, neurosynapse to, when I feel stress, this is now my process instead of managing it. Because man, we're all such good managers of our crap, but that crap is killing us.
And I'm so very well said. I too didn't learn how to self-regulate until I went to a therapist plus, right? Master a ton of modalities, and I sat in her chair and told her I always feel like at any moment I want to run, like I'm going to have to fight or run. She goes, fight or flight.
Yeah, it's that nervous
Yes.
system. It's stuck because that's what it took
Um,
for us to survive, right?
yeah,
And the
yeah,
tricky thing about therapy, I'm not against therapy. I've done therapy many years in my life, but for trauma, they tend to go for modalities like EMDR, which can be really helpful, but it can also re-traumatize you.
yeah,
So the work I do, because it's creator energy coming through, you don't have to remember the incident. You don't have to know what it is. Creator will come through and touch what needs to be touched and make it accepted so that you can step back into wholeness. So
yeah.
one of the things that I did myself after my mom died almost 5 years ago, February 20
Wow.
8th, it'll be 5 years ago that she died. And I was so lost after my mom died. That was the point. I really had to tackle the emotional piece. I
Mm-hmm.
had done a lot of the other healing. I had become aware of the stress patterns and I was doing well. But when you have some kind of a significant acute loss, now there's so many emotions you can't bear the bucket out fast enough, right? Because now
Yeah,
the ship is sinking. So
yeah.
that's where I really became interested in emotion release in a way that was not reliving it, not having to know what it was. We think we have to like know it and identify it to release it. And I have found that's not, it's not true. You don't actually
No,
have to walk through the burning building to come
no.
back out the back door. You
Yeah.
can just really sit in divine energy, have divine energy come through because we were made whole. So all it is a return back to wholeness. That energy comes through and touches the pieces that need to be touched that we're ready to release for our
Mm-hmm.
highest good. And we
Yeah.
just immediately feel lighter, feel peace, feel whole. And it helped me learn to let go, that I don't have
Yeah.
to control everything. I don't have to figure everything out. I don't have to explain everything. I can learn to be. I remember the line in the Bible that used to always just really mess with me is be still and know that I am God. And I thought,
Oh,
who could ever be still? Even if I'm
yeah.
physically still, my mind can't be still.
Yeah.
And but that's how sneaky fight flight is. We can
Yeah.
think, oh, I do all these things, but inside we're constantly
Oh,
thinking, we're worrying, we're forecasting, we're rehashing. So
yeah.
we pretend we're not in fight flight,
Mm-hmm.
but the nervous system is not fooled.
No, no.
So I had to learn and wrestle through really how to just be, which is like the scariest thing in the world when you come from trauma. Like in my
Oh,
childhood, young Kelly, if she ever just was and was just still, somebody was going to get hurt,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? Like that was the last
It
thing.
goes. So, how did you what tools did you use to quiet your mind? For me, it was meditation.
Mhm.
I proclaim to this day that saved my life.
Yeah.
What tools did use to get there?
So I began with emotion code, body code, belief code. And I was going to people who knew those modalities. And I saw, oh, this is helping. And then I started noticing that in the session, I would know what they were going to say before they said it. Now, I didn't know I was a medical intuitive, right? So, all as I'm healing now, these gifts are coming forward.
Yeah.
So then I get the books and I take the courses and I just start doing this on myself. And after my mom died, I had complex masses in both breasts, and they were watching it every 6 months for angiogenesis. By doing the emotion work on myself every morning and every night, within 6 months, actually it was a year because it was two different scans, and then they couldn't find any of the masses, so they totally went away. So then creator starts coming through, and I called God God back then, and then creator said, no, I'm bigger than what you know God to be, so change your words because there's growing to do. So Jesus became Yeshua, God became creator, and I had to kind of unlearn things that I learned growing up Catholic and Christian. So literally overnight, creator came through and said, when you're working directly with the divine, nothing is to be removed or divided, and the door shut to all my modalities. I couldn't muscle test, I couldn't do anything with emotion code, body code, belief code, and I kept hearing in my head, nothing is to be divided or removed, only made accepted. So then I was like, oh my gosh, you're going to have me pray with my clients? Like, this is not what my practice is. So I'm talking to my client. This is the day after creator told me this. I'm talking with my client and I say, this is going to sound crazy, but you know me, you trust me, hear me out. I had an experience where creator came through and told me this, and now I'm trying to use this modality and nothing is coming up. Do you trust me to pray? And they said, yes, absolutely, go for it. So I went into prayer, and the type of prayer I'm talking about, it's like it's meditation, but creator speaks through me.
Yeah.
And I don't always know the things that come out, honestly, because it's not
Yeah.
really me.
Yeah.
And when I
Yeah.
was done that little 5 or 10 minute prayer, I open my eyes, they open their eyes, and they tell me it's the most profound thing they've ever experienced in their life.
Wow.
So the
Yeah.
tools I used have really evolved. It became these modalities. It was meditation, but imagine the power of meditation with divine energy coming through at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's what I do every morning. I'm in about an hour, hour and a half of prayer, and every night I'm in about an hour, hour and a half a night prayer. And with my clients all day, I'm in prayer now. And the ones who aren't open to prayer, I feel creator come through the background and hold prayer on their behalf while
Yeah.
I talk with them, because it's not about ever forcing something on somebody. It's meeting them where they
No.
are.
Yeah.
But though I
Yeah.
would say that those tools saved my life, because even though I had adapted from the trauma and healed from the autoimmune, the death of my mother was catastrophic emotionally to me. And if
Wow.
I didn't have these tools, I know I would have lost myself, my joy, all of it,
Yeah.
because I couldn't even function after she died, because she was my person. She wasn't just my mom. And I didn't even realize how special that relationship was, or how uncommon it was, until after I lost it. And then the people in my life couldn't understand this connection that I had with my mom, and I still have with her,
God.
because nothing is really gone, right? It's just
No. Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Let's delve a little deeper into your healing of others. It's sounds yeah, yeah, exactly like how I energy heal others. I invite bigger and God creator divine and starting at the crown chakra. I go down and can see have the energy. Then they tell me the source and how it's manifesting before we they are done all the way through the energetic body and aura. Is that what you're telling me? That you do is that kind of
Kind of. Mine's a lot more automatic because
okay.
it is, I'm a 24/7 wide open channel of creator. So
Yeah.
even in this conversation, creator energy flows through me, goes
Yeah.
exactly where it needs to go. So I hold intention
Hmm.
just for what is creator's will and highest and best for them. And when I close my eyes, I see what's being assembled. I'll see the different chakra energies. I
Hmm.
will know what the energy feels like. Like I'll understand if it is um, overwhelm or
Yeah.
self-esteem or grief. I
Hmm.
can I feel the
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
Uh, but nothing is removed. As soon as creator comes through and touches it, it's immediately returned back to original design.
Oh,
So nothing has to get pulled out.
yeah.
Nothing, I don't have to identify anything because it's a complete and intelligent energy. So I literally just watch the energy move, and it comes through the back of the heart chakra and it goes anywhere in the being or the auric field that it needs to go. And I just watch what's happening, and then creator will come through sometimes, often, and just give me messages. So I just say what I hear and I say
Hmm.
what I see. So I'm basically, what is it? The example creator gave me is that I am the flute and creator is
Yeah.
the music. So
Yeah.
I'm just who says yes and is completely open and willing
Yeah.
every day. The position of my heart is, creator, your will be done through my life.
Mm.
And that's, I just said
Yeah.
yes. And like my
Yeah.
soul is all in for creator's will. So
Yeah.
those two things just make it an open conduit, and it
Hmm.
comes out according to creator's will. Like there's times I don't even think I'm in channel, and I'll be talking to a client and they'll say, "Oh, that was profound. Say it again." And I'm like, I don't know what came through. So even in
Yeah.
real time, creator just comes through.
Yeah.
So it's like it goes everywhere all at once and touches exactly what needs to be touched. So in my private practice with the clients, after because I have a very clinical piece and then we add in the spiritual energetic piece, so it's complete healing. So every time they meet with me, we do all the clinical things and then we end with the energy healing, and it
Hmm.
speeds up their healing. And then once
Yeah.
a month I have open to the public where they can jump on and do an hour and 15-minute full assembly with me into creator energy and receive exactly what's for their highest and best. So I have like deep dives. I have like um, surgical prayers. It's Creator
Mhm.
had told me one time, because I said, can you just tell me what I'm supposed to do? And Creator said, you will do many things. Like, you're
Yeah.
designed to do many things.
Yes.
So I just keep saying yes.
There is a complete game changer.
To say
Um,
yes, yeah.
yeah, when I began saying yes, I
Everything
mean,
changes. Everything
whoa,
changes. You can't even
hold
anticipate it.
on, yeah,
Mhm.
hold on,
Yeah.
because now I had to first always admit that when Creator said, you are now going to blah 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 and do blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And we're talking different dimensions than reality.
Yes.
I'm like, well, how? How
Yeah.
am I
Yeah.
gonna get there? How will like you, I am also and a political mind
Yes.
spending 25 plus years in corporate America in engineering IT. So you don't just say, oh, okay,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. I felt crazy.
But
Like, if it wasn't as real as it was, I would think that I had lost my mind because it was so
yes,
radically different. And even my husband was like, okay, maybe this is just a thing she's going through. But what started happening is, in my sleep, my soul was working with Creator and Yeshua and Christ consciousness and going into others' souls. There,
mhm.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's like I
No,
will
he
see
just,
somebody's entire life and I see every moment that caused them injury or wound. I feel it like it's my own, and then we touch it so it can be made accepted. So my husband's waking up because we sleep at 67 degrees, and he's waking up dripping sweat because so much heat is radiating off of me, and my hands are moving in my sleep, and he's like, okay, so she doesn't even know this is happening. And then
yeah,
once I'm done in my sleep, the temperature immediately drops back down to 67, and I'm unconscious the entire time. So
yeah.
I don't sleep often at night. My body's in bed, but there's different work that I do in myself, and there's different work I do for my higher self, which
Mhm.
sounds not normal, right? This is not the what we're taught in the world, but it just is what is actually real and true.
Thank you for coming out with that because I too have a difficult time intend not to share what I do once I'm in bed.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, which, yes, is different than what we're doing in this consciousness
Yeah.
and reality.
Yeah. Well, because the
God,
soul will always say yes, right? But when we're
yeah,
in our consciousness, the ego is like, hold on, hold on, maybe no. But
yeah,
when we're in our sleep state. Now, ego is quiet and we're in our spirit form because we don't have to stay in our body.
Yeah.
And the soul will always say yes because the soul remembers. It doesn't have the same disconnects that we have through our egoic self.
Yeah.
So, our most profound work, I would say, probably happens in our sleep state.
Yeah. With well, Janet,
Mm-hmm.
her right. Oh my gosh. We are almost getting outward. I'm away disappointing and did say I got when we're winding down. What? Words was done or what are you really seeing now to pass along to those who are going to hear our conversation.
The biggest words of wisdom I have is don't ignore your intuition. Every time I've tried to dismiss my intuition or ignore it because I think I know better or because it seems crazy or whatever, man, it doesn't go well.
No.
Our intuition is there for a reason and we're taught to doubt it. And it's our compass, it's our divine compass. So when we discount our intuition, we are discounting our sovereign divine ability to stay on path and to self-heal and to do all the things we're already capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
When we move from trust into this life and we're just seeded with doubt, so much doubt that now we're even disconnected from our intuition.
Yeah.
We disconnect from all the abilities and giftings that are inherently ours. So if you can begin by honoring yourself, by honoring your intuition and start repairing that connection to self, because that's probably one of the first things that gets disconnected in trauma.
Yes.
Start by repairing that and honoring that and just saying, I don't have to understand it, but I feel this, so I'll honor it. That
Mm-hmm.
starts repairing connection to self. And as you start repairing connection to self, you become more whole and more capable of more healing.
Well, said I also wanted to say that I too relate when doing energy healing on someone. It has become more of what you described. I love it. I mean, it's just way more elevated and quicker and cleaner and just beautiful, regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for talking about that and your story. I and every one who hears this thanks to you and is deeply appreciative of you, your time, and all that you do to help healing and help people become who they are meant to be. Keep on going, Kelly. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for listening. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to explore your own healing journey or intuitive gifts, I'd love to work with you. I offer psychic medium readings, energy healing sessions, and intuitive development guidance at shariroberts.org. And if you're not quite ready for a session, but want to be a part of the conversation in a supportive community, join my private Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. This is Shari Lee Roberts. Until next time, remember, you're never alone.